Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, April 15th, 2024, here for my weekly cross-stitching update. I don't have a lot of stitching to share for this past week, but I do have some plans coming up that will be fun. So I'm going to title this video Best Laid Plans because I had hoped to get my model stitch finished this week and I did not. But there's a good reason for it because I had some colors that I wasn't quite happy with. They were blending into too much. And I unpicked them, which especially in one case was very difficult because other things had been stitched around it already. So it was hard to take out. And then restitched them. I've done a little bit more than that, but that took a long time to fix it. And I'm much happier with the colors now. So it was worth it, but I'm not ready. Carolyn Zook over at Zook Stitch will be doing a stitch along starting today, I think, for Herschel and Lucy designs that I have up in my Etsy shop. I'll put out a couple pictures of the two that are out now. I was really hoping to get the third one done before today, but such is life. Hopefully by next week. Because of that, I'm going to bump Dragon Ride one more week and give it my two focus days, Wednesday, Thursday this week, and any other little bits and bobs throughout the week I can find, and hopefully I can get it done. We'll see. I also did not work on my temperature turtles at all. I had to drive to church yesterday and my parents visited, so I didn't get anything done on that. So, you know, it's the way it is. But I did finish Cats and Hearts March because I did go ahead and do this as my travel stitching instead of my model stitch, which who knows if my model stitch could have been done if I had also worked on it in the car, but I chose not to do it partly because it's over 4 pages instead of 1, like Cats and Hearts is only on 1 page. And I was, with my model stitch, I'm highlighting as I go, and I didn't want to deal with the highlighter in the car, potentially drop it between the seats or mark something up that I shouldn't have. So anyways, I just thought it was better just to leave that one at home. But I got this one done and I'm very happy with it. So I popped it into my frame. This is Cats and Hearts March by Kitty and Me Designs, and these are all turning out pretty cute and I'm excited. This one's done. And I've prepped April. I have not started April, but I will be starting that today. So what I like to do, maybe I'll cover up more of the pattern here. What I like to do is I have the chart page, and this time I wrote it on the sides, like what the symbols are, so that it's all on one page, because the way it's presented to you is the charts on one page and then the symbol keys on one page. But in travel stitching, it's nice to like keep it in the bag and just look at it and have all my symbols there on that same page. So in the past, I was cutting them out and kind of putting them around in the margins with tape. There's a lot of colors in this one because there's actually 3 sets of colors. All the other ones have had 2 sets of colors, and there's actually 5 of each. So this is the April one I'll be starting today for my travel stitching, and there's 5 shades of red, 5 shades of yellow, and 5 shades of green. So there's a lot of colors. Plus the 5-3-5 I am stitching the cats in instead of the 3-10. So it looks a little bit more like smoky. These are done, mine are done on 25 count even weave. So I'll get that started today. 1/1. I did work on my frosted pumpkin piece twice actually. So I got a good amount done on this one. Although I am missing a thread now. When I went to work on it the second time, there's a thread missing and I don't know where it is. So I might need to go buy another one. Because I've already done some of the castle down below using the color I chose, and now I don't know where it is. It's not in my bag. I don't know what other project I could have possibly put it in. So if any of you know or can think of a project I've done recently that used a dark gray fancy floss, let me know. And I can go look and see if I can find my floss. So this is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery 2023 Mystery Stitch Along. It's all out now. It finished in February, and they just released the theme for this year, which is Arctic animals. I can resist it. I've had so many people texting me on Thursday asking me about that, but I can resist. If it were cats and like house pets, I would have been a goner, I think. But since I'm like, I'm okay. I'm behind on this one. I'm happy to just stick with this one for now. So I will enjoy watching everybody else work on their Arctic animals because it does look very cute. So here is this one now. Mine is on 28 count Ice Blue Lugana 1/1 faux cross with a fancy floss color conversion, and I worked up here in the background. So I did this next darkest color. I think I'd finished all of the lightest gray, which is a variegated one I chose the last time. So you've seen that. And then I added this next darkest gray, which was also in the path. And then I was going to do the third darkest gray, and then I couldn't find it to finish the castle out. But I ended up working on the tree that day instead. It's not quite finished, but I got a good chunk of the tree done that second time I worked on it. So that's nice. Keep chipping away at that one. The goal is to finish it by the end of the year. We'll see if towards the end of, like, as time goes on, if I need more time, I might put it in some focus slots in, as needed, because it is on my list of things I'd like to finish this year. So we'll try to make that happen. Okay, everything else was just like focus stitching, which was my model stitch for 5 days. Mostly 4 days, but I did a little bit on the 5th day just to get to a better stopping point. Then I pulled out one of my Whip Go draws. This was on my non-full coverage Whip Go board because it's a dimensions kit with all sorts of things. It might actually technically be full coverage now that I have looked at it, but it's okay. It's so unique and different than traditional full coverage, which is all full crosses. And this is definitely not that. So it goes on my non-full coverage board. So I worked up here, filled in some more buildings, and even there's some like gray right here that's kind of like shaded buildings as they fade into the background. So I did a little bit of the gray, maybe even some of the sky. So I also got this put into Books, which is a PDF reader that comes with an iPad. You could use any PDF reader, but what I like to do with Mirabilias, and then I got started on this the first day. I'm like, oh, this is a bear, just trying to figure out where I'm at, which symbol I need to use next. So the next day on Saturday, I spent some time, took pictures of the chart. It's a big fold out chart. So I took 4 pictures. So they were reasonably sized, put it into the PDF reader, and I'm just highlighting it using the highlighting tool. And it's rudimentary, but it's good for just marking off where I've been without having to make a working copy, because I don't really have an easy way to do that at my house. I don't have a flat scanner, and so this is the way to go. So this is kit fabric, which is, I believe, 16 count Dove Gray Aida, I think is what they said on the package. And I did a lot. I don't think I did any full crosses this time. I think it was all half stitches, but it was 2, 3, and 4 stranded half stitches. I did some gray or brown and dark gray, and then some light gray and purpley blue as well. So pretty nice. And I got all of this previous stuff marked off in my, with highlighters in my PDF of pictures too, so that I can have an easier time of like reading where I'm at. So that's great. Happy with that. I did a lot on Saturday, only just a handful of stitches on Friday. So it didn't get both days weren't very full, but overall, because I did extra on Saturday, I think it got plenty of time. I'm happy with how much I got done on that one. And then because my parents visited, I didn't get a whole lot done on Sunday on spring montage, but I did work on it, and I stayed up a little bit to make sure I got to a nice stopping point of at least 100 stitches, because I feel like I would have felt like I wanted to try to play catch up if I got less than 100, so I'm like, I finally found a color that had a lot of stitches with that one color right in a small area. So I was able to knock out the last little bit and get over 100 stitches without too much time, because there's a lot of confetti up here in the top of this cherry blossom area. So this is by Pain Free Crafts, artwork by Janet Stever. And so I worked on this for just a little bit, and it got 136 stitches. So hopefully you might be able to see it, because it's all on the fabric is, some of the colors blend in with my fabric, but that might be a little better. So this is 28 count, I think mushroom Lugana 1/1 full cross. And it's now at 1.55%. And I did a little bit of yellow that kind of went over here into the border. There was another fill-in yellow as well. And then a lot of the pink in this, there you can see it, in the flower here. Got me the last little bit quickly at the end of the night. So that was nice. So hopefully I'll get more done on that next week, in the next couple weeks. I think I have, yeah, 2 more Sundays. So this will come back out 2 more times this month, and I think all of May as well. Because this year I'm just doing the montages and the Celtic ladies. So I'm going to spend 2 months of Sundays on the montages and 1 month of Sundays on my Celtic ladies. So each season of that. That's the plan for this year. So that was not too bad. And also on Saturday, I didn't write this down, or didn't show you yet. I had a new start, an unplanned new start, because my friend Desiree sent me this pattern a couple weeks ago, and she wanted to stitch it together when we're chatting. So we had worked on His Name is Jesus a while back, finished that because we had kind of worked on it together. And we had tried working on the butterfly rose cross, but it was a little trickier for her to see because the fabric was a little darker. So, and her time when we talk is nighttime, so it's not the greatest lighting. And she had the mini and I had the regular, so it was just enough different that it wasn't working. So she wanted to work on this together. So I'll have to put butterfly rose cross in my plans somewhere else next year. So I got started. She started in the middle, and I started up here in this corner. So I did a good amount of this corner motif. Didn't quite get it finished, but got pretty close. And so I'll be working on this only when we chat. Here is my starting point. And I think it's really pretty. I did make a color change. The darker color here was supposed to be a bright orange, and I couldn't handle it. I needed something more goldy. So I looked up the darkest gold that's used in some of the teapot areas and picked a color that I felt was better representative of being gold in between the bright yellow and the darker gold. So I like this one better. So there's more dark gold down here, but I think the yellow is all done in this corner motif. So this is Tiki Oasis by Oak Crown Studios. I was looking for something that I had on hand. This is a 32 count Lugana, and that would go nicely with this pattern. It's a bright, it's a soft teal, but it's a happy color, like a summer sky that would be, or an ocean, a tropical ocean, you know, that I felt would look good with these colors, because it's, these are happy colors. So I felt like that would be fun. And I cut it in half. Amy you can find her at Fiber Arts Amy here on Flosstube. Oak Crown Studios is her new fabric dyeing business. And she sent me a couple pieces to try, and that was one of them. And I had a whole fat quarter, but I cut it in half to just use the fat eighth. I have a tiny little margin at the top. It's like a 3/4 of an inch, but since I stitch in hand, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, I really don't want to use up the whole piece of fabric. I'm gonna save half of it for something else. So I'm rolling with it. That's kind of what I do. But I thought that was a pretty color, and I'm doing it 2/2 full cross, and the back stitching will be one strand. So I think that'll be fun. So you'll see that every couple weeks, a little bit on that one. Okay, I think that's it. of what I worked on. So I'll go into plans. Not a whole lot to share. I guess I feel like I'm flying through this, but it's okay. So I have, I'm going to go back to my family piece this week because I don't want to get too far behind, and I still want to have my regular new start, my planned new start later in the month. So I'm going to go and work on Bear Time stories today and tomorrow for my son. And hopefully I will have time to get my model stitch done even with doing this, because I did not work on my husband's piece last week to try to give that more time. But this is by Randall Spangler. This is the mini, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm doing it on 40 count, Verdal 1/1 half stitches. And here's my starting point. I'm doing it extreme cross country. I have already finished the color with the most stitches, and I'm now working my way through the list of colors starting with the least amount of stitches. And the stitches, I've gotten rid of all the little teeny tiny amounts, so now each color has over 100. So it's fun to, like, you actually see something when you finish a color now. And you're like, oh yeah, I added, you know, a patch of this. And some of the colors are different. Some of them, like I was doing blues and greens last time, you can totally see where they are. Some of them are like a dark brown or a dark gray or something that's like one stitch here, and there's still 100 stitches, but they're scattered. Those are harder to see, and they're a little more annoying. They're harder to count. So if I have some of those in there, it'll be less exciting. But those dark stitches are helpful because they give it depth and dimension. So it's all right. So I'm hoping to work on that a little bit today and tomorrow. And then Wednesday and Thursday, I will work on my model stitch more. Wednesday, I'm planning to visit my local needlepoint store. Pat, if you're listening, I'm hoping to come on Wednesday. We received word last week that the store will be closing because it is currently in the owner's home, and she was told she needs to leave in 30 days. So that's really sad. Not only for the shop, but for her home, having to try to find a new place to live in a short span of time. So you could be praying for her to be able to find a nice place to live, and Lord willing, bring the shop back at some point. But she's opening it up for this coming week, Wednesday through Sunday, I think, because this weekend they're having a needlepoint event. So she's not canceling that, but it's also open earlier in the week. And my cross-stitching buddy, Pat, is there usually on Wednesday. So hopefully, Pat, you'll be there. I'd like to come on Wednesday. I'm probably going to bring my model stitch with me just to make sure I get some extra time on it. I won't bring my needle counted canvas piece like I would have liked to bring, because I really think the couple hours I'll be there will be a great chance to work on my model stitch. So that's the plan. I'll bring that with me for that. And then any other time I get it home. So, and then this weekend I'll work on Delightful Waltz, which is a Whipco piece on my full coverage board. This is a Leonid Afromov piece that I started last year. I think I just only started it last year. This is by Artisy. It's the large version. There's two versions, but I liked the way this one looked better. And I'm up there in the corner with, like, there's a lot of pinks and blues, but up here in the corner is a lot of the oranges and greens, which this is pretty much the only place they are, which is kind of funny, but that's where I am. I wonder if I'll get some, well, probably not, because I see there's some green down here too, and there's orange over here, so probably won't finish any colors, but this is where I'm starting. And this is 40 count, I believe, platinum linen, 1/1 half cross. So that's my starting point, and we'll see how far I get. I am stitching it using my block by block typewriter method, so I'll pick symbols, probably starting around here, and then work them in wherever they fit, wherever they go. And yeah, that's where that's at now. We'll see how far I can get this weekend. And then Sunday I'll pull out Spring Montage again. Hopefully get some work on Temperature Turtles, because that's kind of in a sad state right now. It's a couple weeks behind. Um, and yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote. So hopefully you have a wonderful week. Enjoy whatever you're working on. Try to enjoy the weather where you are. I know spring is pretty much here. We're kind of going back and forth. We had really hot days. It was high 80s on Wednesday, Thursday, but then we rained Saturday, Sunday, and it was, 50, low 50s. So we're still up and down. My turtles are going to be real colorful. But I think we're trending upward. So, and if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm sure you're enjoying the coming of fall. So have fun with that, whatever that looks like for you. And I hope to be back next week. Happy stitching. Bye.